independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Therefore, I'm taking executive action. We've had it. And we're going to save American jobs and provide relief to the American workers, that I'll be signing these bills in a very short period of time. First one is I'm providing a payroll tax holiday to Americans earning less than $100,000 per year. In a few moments, I will sign a directive instructing the Treasury Department to allow employers to defer payment of the employee portion of certain payroll taxes from September 1st.
Huh? I don't think anybody knows. So Trump signs a executive order. I don't know how real it is. I think a lot of people are asking the question, is it real? Is it even legal?
We've cleared with the Office of Legal Counsel all these actions before they went to the president. The president knew unemployment insurance was ending. He said, let's continue at $400. By the way, the 25% from the states, they can either take that out of the money we've already given them, or the president can waive that. We've been told by the states they can get this up and running immediately. And I would say if the Democrats want to challenge us in court and hold up unemployment benefits to those hardworking Americans that are out of a job because of COVID, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, I think that's true, but they're going to, because states can't afford it. Here in Arizona, where I'm at, November, regular unemployment insurance, which, by the way, here, nothing, $240 a week. It's going to run out. Democrats and Republicans failed to get anything done. Now you want the states to kick in. There's going to be a ton of battling on whether or not this thing is even legal. Whether they can even get this done. How does it work? Another confusion.
Don't forget, please, the state unemployment benefits continue. There's no effect on what they do. And yes, for an extra $100, we will lever it up. We'll pay 3/4 and the states will pay 25%. I think the way this is going to work out, we have additional funds that we will repurpose for this. This is an essential item. Probably you'll get $800 total, federal and state. And if we get it going September 1st, which is what the deadline looks like, that probably give the workforce an increase in wages.
Larry Kudlow. I don't know how this works. I don't look, Trump did this, why he did this. He's pissed. I understand that. He is. The Republicans and Democrats don't seem to be anywhere near getting something done. They all want their own little something inside of there, which we don't need. It should just be a clean bill. We can just move on with our lives. But we can't get to that point. And I look there and I think, what are you doing to Social Security? What are you doing to Medicare? That's a fair question to ask.
In fact, what the president did is, I agree with the Republican senator said, it was unconstitutional slop. While it has the illusion of saying we're going to have a moratorium on evictions, it says, I'm going to ask you, the folks in charge, to study if that's feasible. While he says he's going to do the payroll tax, what he's doing is undermining Social Security and Medicare. So these are illusions.
Now, once again, Trump signs this thing. The fight's on. Republicans and Democrats no closer to getting something done. Both of them wanted everything. So in return, they'll take nothing. And they'll be happy with it because they all want everything. Because it's about the win for their team. It's not about the win for you or I. It is frustrating. You should be frustrated. I'm frustrated. I look at this. Trump goes in there. He does this. There's going to be lawsuits. Don't think that there's not going to be lawsuits. But why didn't you get a deal done, Nancy? Why didn't you get a deal done, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell? Why can't you get stuff done?
Having no bill at all, not coming to any agreement, wasn't going to provide any of the things that you want either. You're known as a master negotiator, but didn't you mess this one up? Because you talk about all the things that the president's bill, let me just finish if I may, Speaker. Now, because there's no deal at all, cities and states won't get any money.
Yeah. Chris Wallace coming after. Why didn't you get this done? You're supposed to be the master negotiator. Tell me why you didn't get this done.
Offering $150 billion for cities and states. You wanted $900 billion. The result of no deal is that the states and cities, which we all agree do need some money, are going to get nothing. The failure to make a deal is going to result in a lot of people and a lot of entities that were in need ending up with nothing.
How do you justify tens of billions of dollars to feed the hungry to $250,000? You understand how far apart we are just by that example. Let's put it this way. We have to reach an agreement.
Yeah, you do. You want $1 trillion. They're offering $150 billion. It's not the same. No, because you want $1 trillion. Something has got to be done. It should be a clean bill. Nobody wants that. What do they want? They want everything they can. They want all the pork and then some.
And unfortunately, the president's executive orders described in one word could be paltry, in 3 words, unworkable, weak, and far too narrow. The event at the country club is just what Trump does, a big show, but it doesn't do anything. And as the American people look at these executive orders, they'll see they don't come close to doing the job.
No, but you didn't do the job. So at the end of the day, you didn't do the job. He tried something, didn't work. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to be challenged. He tried something. Misguided, maybe? Maybe. Better than nothing? Absolutely. Will it get done? I doubt it. But maybe you need to get in there and say, all right, we don't need a quadrillion gazillion dollars for this. We don't need this. We don't need this. How about we just do a straight bill, and then we'll deal with the rest later on. The old great saying from Ronald Reagan was what? Get what you can today, we'll get the rest later. Not them. Get everything you can at this moment in time, or else we don't care. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from you. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Still growing and growing and growing. Coronavirus has not gone anywhere.
If we ignore the basic public health stuff that we've all been talking about, then it is going to be a really hard fall and winter, and we may find ourselves looking at a lockdown. But I think all of us would love to avoid that if possible.
Yeah, of course we'd all love to avoid that. But is that going to happen? That is Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Maybe I said it right. Maybe I said it wrong. If I did, I screwed it up. I apologize. You know, it's tough. It's a long name right there, kids. It's not like Steve Smith or something like that. What are we going to do? That's the thing. Still here, not going anywhere. The battle is very real, publicly and privately. How do we fight this thing? What do we do? Trump is taking a beating because even Republicans out there are not happy with the way that this thing has gone. And we look around and we say, all right, how do we get ourselves from point A to point B in a very real way? I don't know what we're going to do because I continue to say this, and I'll say this over and over again. While we're in this together, we're not together in this. We've made it political. We battle each other over and over and over again over things like masks and social distancing, and we don't need to. States have as much of a issue as the feds do in that the way that they've handled things, and that's not getting any better. And when things are going down, quite frankly, it's running its course in certain areas. It's not the great thing that you've done. It's running its course. There is no right answer. It's about being present as much as possible, doing what you can to get people the necessary things to fight this thing, but understanding that it's right there. It's not going anywhere. We're going to have to live with it. We're going to have to live around it. We'll have to live through it. At this moment in time, that's what we have to do. Live with it, around it, and through it. We can't do anything other than that. Hiding from it is not going to make it go away. Staying inside until there is potentially a breakthrough in treatment therapeutically and a vaccine, who knows how long that can be? Who knows how long that can be? What we do know, this is what it is. Everybody's going to be talking about this today.
New Zealand is seen as a global exemplar, and over the weekend, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern celebrated 100 days with no community transmission, while stressing the need to remain cautious.
100 days. Why can't we be like that? Okay, let me ask you, how are we going to be like that? So we live in a country where we have 50 little countries, and all of those 50 little countries have their king and queens, if you will, their own presidents. And inside of there, they have their own politics. And inside of their own politics, they have their own politicians, and they have their rules and regulations that they live by. And while there's the feds, they're kind of allowed, based on our Constitution, to rule themselves. So you tell me how you shut down something where you don't allow people to come in and out like they did on an island at all. Tell them, nope, you guys can't come in, you can't come out, we're locking things down. Everybody's staying inside. We'll tell you when to come out. When you do, you wear a mask. Nobody else is coming. So could you imagine Florida saying, all right, you guys can't come here. Nobody can come here. People freak out. Trump, remember early on in this, Trump said, hey, we're thinking about banning people leaving New York. Right? Everybody wants to get the feds involved. He says, we're thinking about banning people leaving New York and making sure people can't go there. And what happened? Cuomo's like, he's declaring war on the states. Welcome to the world that we live in. When you have 50 rulers, which means you have 50 chefs, and there's one kitchen, even though there's a head chef and everybody else is a sous chef, everybody thinks they should be the head chef. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Car Shield, amazing. Protect your car. You should. Especially in this time, so many people are worried about what's going on with the marketplace themselves. And they see these incredible opportunities to buy cars, but some people are nervous. They're going to have a job tomorrow. They may have a job. That's where Car Shield comes in. You can protect what you have. It's running longer and better, but you want to make sure. With Car Shield, you get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. The shop is the shop that you choose. It's that simple. You take it there. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. Plans start as low as $99 a month. You choose the plan you're looking for. Be specific when you talk to them. Say, hey, look, I want this. I'm worried about my air conditioning and the electronics in the car. I'm worried about the engine and I'm worried about whatever it is. Be specific. Check it out. 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson saves you 10%. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Carshield.com. Carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
It's been a long night of clashes between looters and police on one of Chicago's most famous shopping districts. Now, take a look at some of these images. According to authorities, this all began at about midnight. Police say large groups of looters targeted high-end stores and businesses on Michigan Avenue, also known as the Magnificent Mile, shattering windows, stealing merchandise, even filling cars with stolen goods as they clashed with officers for hours. All this as police has struggled to get things under control. Police is shutting down nearby highways and public transit to try to secure the area.
Now, why did that happen? Apparently, somebody was shot by the cops. Police, now I'm going to say this, responding to a call. Let's go over this again. There's a police officer. Police officer sitting in their car. Hey, there's somebody over here with a gun. That's the report they get. They go over. Person starts to flee. Fire shots. Police fire back. Hit the suspect. Suspect taken to hospital. People get pissed because the rumor is it's just a child. Found out somebody late teens, early 20s. Still didn't matter. You're shooting at the police. You could expect you're probably going to get shot at. People get angry. Now remember, this wasn't the cops wandering around like, hey, let's go find out if we can find somebody and do something. No. Responding to a call. Responding to a call. Show up. People pissed. Oh, we're angry. Attack the police. Turns into looting and rioting. That's where we are right now. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. It is an absolute mess. It is a mess. Andy No, who we've had on the show several times, said the police are completely overwhelmed. completely overwhelmed. And they just took everything they could. There you go. Good times, kids. Good times. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Should there be another lockdown?
If we ignore the basic public health stuff that we've all been talking about, then it is going to be a really hard fall and winter, and we may find ourselves looking at a lockdown. But I think all of us would love to avoid that if possible.
Yeah, I don't think we need another lockdown. I think what we need, Shisha, doctor, is no lockdown. I just think we need something smarter. And that smarter thing is pretty much little social distancing, a little bit more cleanliness, wear your mask when applicable, and then live your life. That's what we need. We don't need anything other than that. Well, what about schools? We're going to talk about schools. I think it's a fair question to talk about schools. Parents have no idea what to do. I've talked to several parents. I've got friends who've got kids that are young, and they're like, I don't know what to do. We're making choices about quitting our job, one of us, and having to take care of the kids at school. You know, it's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. And the battle, let me tell you something, the battle that's coming between teachers and parents is going to be very, very big. Because here in Arizona, teachers had a lot of goodwill last year. Parents jumped all over the fact that the teachers didn't get enough for their raises, and they were all like supporting the teachers. I've talked to about a dozen parents. That goodwill is gone. We're going to talk about that. 323-538-2423. Plus Portland. Do you remember Portland? It was all the feds' fault. They showed up. It caused riots. Everything was the feds' fault. Oh, hold on a second. Wait, what? Yeah. Hold on a second. Indeed. Maybe it wasn't the feds' fault. Maybe, I know it's crazy, maybe Trump was right. No. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Offering $150 billion for cities and states. You wanted $900 billion. The result of no deal is that the states and cities, which we all agree do need some money, are going to get nothing. The failure to make a deal is going to result in a lot of people and a lot of entities that were in need ending up with nothing.
How do you justify tens of billions of dollars to feed the hungry to $250,000? You understand how far apart we are just by that example. Let's put it this way. We have to reach an agreement.
But you haven't. So Trump took it upon himself over the weekend to say, I'm going to try something and I'm going to do it because you guys didn't do it.
Therefore, I'm taking executive action. We've had it. And we're going to save American jobs and provide relief to the American workers, that I'll be signing these bills in a very short period of time. First one is I'm providing a payroll tax holiday to Americans earning less than $100,000 per year. In a few moments, I will sign a directive instructing the Treasury Department to allow employers to defer payment of the employee portion of certain payroll taxes from September 1st.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Nobody knows. The reality is it legal? Is it not legal? You're going to supposedly states are supposed to kick in like 25%, $100 of that and then the other 300 will come from the feds. So your unemployment, depending on where you live, here in Arizona, it's 240. California, I think it's up near 5. So you get like 9 something there. Some states you may only get whatever your state is, plus that $400. And how do you force states to pay for something they don't have? Hey, you got to pay for this. I don't have it. Sorry, got to do it. It's confusing. Is it even legal? They're pretty sure it's legal.
We've cleared with the Office of Legal Counsel all these actions before they went to the president. The president knew unemployment insurance was ending. He said, let's continue at $400. By the way, the 25% from the states, they can either take that out of the money we've already given them, or the president can waive that. We've been told by the states they can get this up and running immediately. And I would say if the Democrats want to challenge us in court and hold up unemployment benefits to those hardworking Americans that are out of a job because of COVID, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
You got a lot of explaining, though, man. Is it possible that they're going to do that? Of course. There's going to be all kinds of lawsuits. States can't afford this. And it's Trump. So imagine this. In a world now that we live in that's completely litigious, like you could not believe, everything that Trump does, they'll be fired back upon by the other side. And whoever the next president is, he or she. I said that because you don't know if Biden wins, how long he's going to be there. But whoever that is, the other side of the aisle, those states will come out and say, oh, no, we got to sue you for something. That's where we live. I don't know if Trump can do this. They think that he can. Other people are saying he doesn't have the right. We'll find out. I think they'll eventually reach a deal. I always thought 400 was pretty fair, along with your state's unemployment. You combine the two. If it needs to be a clean deal, then it needs to be, let's just go to January 1st, and then we'll revisit it, because we don't know what it's going to look like in 3 months. Maybe we have a vaccine coming. We can start to live our lives pre-coronavirus style. It's going to take a while, but we can say, all right, this is where we're headed. But nothing is what we got from both sides of the aisle in negotiations. And I'll tell you this right now. Here's my huge frustration. Both sides want stuff that they don't need to have in these bills. Both sides put extra pork in that didn't need to be there. This needs to be clean, and we should go from there. That's it. It's that simple. Shouldn't be that hard, but it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Do you guys remember Portland? Does everybody remember Portland? So Portland, 2-3 weeks ago, Trump was evil and bad. He sent the feds in there. There's the courthouse. Oh my God, they're inciting riots. Now it's been going on for 50 days. Now we're up to like 60 something days, but they're inciting riots. It's all the feds' fault. It was just, hey, these people were great. They were having fun. It's the summer of love. We saw what happened in Seattle. Blah 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 blah. Flash forward, feds have left. Guess what?
Nights of protests that began as a Black Lives Matter outcry over the killing of George Floyd by a white police officer, but have now, according to Portland's police chief and mayor, completely lost sight of that cause.
When you commit arson with an accelerant in an attempt to burn down a building that is occupied by people that you have intentionally trapped inside, you are not demonstrating. You are attempting to commit murder.
Oh, but wait, I thought it was these people are, this is what it's great.
You are creating the B-roll film that will be used in ads nationally to help Donald Trump during his campaign. You don't want to be part of that? Then don't show up.
It's ridiculous. It is. Portland, Seattle, other places have allowed these rioters, not protesters, they're rioters. Protesters show up, they have their signs, they scream, they chant, they turn around, they go home, they live their life, they come back, do it the next day. Nothing gets taken, nothing gets burned down, nobody gets killed, there isn't any of that stuff. These people are there to cause hell, to cause havoc, and you can't blame Trump on this one.
Portland is a disaster. It's lawless rioters and agitators and anarchists. That's what they are. You know, when you find Molotov cocktails in somebody's knapsack and they say, no, I'm just here to have a good time. These are really sick, disturbed people. Mayor Wheeler has abdicated his duty and surrendered his city to the mob.
And some of that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. You've allowed this to happen. That's why I keep saying, let it burn. If that's what's going to happen, let it burn. Portland this is what you want, let it burn. You voted for this. You wanted this. This is what you got. Seattle, you wanted this. You got it.
Now, Thursday's protests had been promoted on social media by a group calling itself the Pacific Northwest Youth Liberation Front, with the slogan, quote, "No cops, no prisons, total abolition." Now, Mayor Wheeler had hoped that the violence might dissipate after federal agents whose presence he decried as causing some of the most intense clashes were largely withdrawn from Portland's streets last week. At this point, that seems to have been wishful thinking.
Yeah, it is. Seattle's got a vote. What are their vote going to be? Is it going to be getting rid of cops? There's another one here. Here we are. Right here we are. Let's get rid of cops.
Just because we need more social programs does not mean we have to defund the SPD. We can have both.
That's the person who's normal, protesting. Man on the street, woman on the street. Just because we want to have some more money for social programs doesn't mean we have to get rid of everything. But these people, they want to get rid of everything. Knock yourself out. At this point in time, you get what you want. You voted these people in, right? This is what you wanted. You voted them in. You brought them in. You've said, hey, it's a summer of love, right? The jazz and the jazz and the chop is all good. It's a summer of love, baby. Hey, they're just here mostly peaceful protesters. It's the feds. They're making them do this. Stop it. Let it do whatever it's going to do. You wanted those. You wanted Wheeler, right? You wanted these people in place, and you put them in place, and you thought these people they're part of our values here. Super liberal, uber fun, right? Live and let live kind of attitude. And this is what you've got. You tell your police, don't really do any policing. Just kind of do some refereeing. Knock yourself out. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Speaking of that, what is going on in Sturgis?
So they decided to officially sponsor it. That way they could provide hand sanitizer. They could provide some guidance for social distancing. Essentially, the city was handcuffed to the fact that this has such a huge tradition that happens every single year, not to mention the fact that these businesses count on this event happening every year. I talked with one campground owner, Buffalo Chip Campground. This is the only event they do. They hold concerts. It's 9 days out of the year. This is the only time they make any money.
Yeah. What do you do? If you are Sturgis, they're allowing it to go on. They're allowing it to just be Sturgis. Now, it's not 500,000 people. They're expecting about 250, maybe 300,000 over a 10-day period, 10-day period. And I'm sure a lot of people didn't want that. It's the biggest get-together since the pandemic started. People are frustrated. They're, about what's going on.
They took a survey a few months ago of all the residents in the city to see how they would feel. And the majority of the population, 60%, said they wanted it canceled. So you'd think maybe the city would move forward with canceling it. The problem with that is good luck telling 250,000 bikers what to do. They essentially realized even if this city doesn't sponsor this event or make it official, all these bikers are just going to come into town.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they've done. They've shown up. They've come into town. Are they going to spread it? Probably.
They're trying to be cautious however they can. They're also not trying to be too pushy with their guests. I talked to one business owner who essentially said that she wears a mask. Her employees wear masks. They don't tell their customers what to do, and they've had customers give them a hard time for wearing a mask, essentially saying, like, why are you wearing that? That's not going to do any good. And an interesting thing that she told me, Brad, is that on top of, trying to keep her business afloat, their business sells masks, and they were having bikers come in and buy them, not because they were going to wear them. They're certainly not wearing them here. They were buying them because they come from states where masks are required.
It's chaos and craziness. It is. It's chaos and craziness. Yeah, there's going to be issues. There's going to be a ton of issues when they leave there. How bad is it going to be? That's debatable because we're never really going to know what those numbers look like. Plus, you've also got to look, as much as there's a lot of people that are weekend warriors, ride their motorcycles, this is kind of their fun thing to do. Your doctors, your lawyers, your people living their second best life, if you will. You still have, because I've got a couple friends there, I'm efforting to get them on the show tomorrow, a lot of one percenters. So if you don't know what a one percenter is, what do they say about motorcycle clubs, outlaw motorcycle clubs? It's only 1%, right? It's mostly peaceful. Only really 1%. So, and the old adage is if they got more tattoos than teeth, doesn't matter what happens, they'll be fine. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Wounded Paw Project, amazing organization, helps tons of veterans, first responders, and their family by doing what? By rescuing dogs and training them to be service dogs. And it is an amazing, amazing, amazing organization. They combine their love of dogs and their dedication to finding a way to help veterans. They built Wounded Paw Project. They take these dogs and they take some of the hardest cases you find out there in dogs, and they do amazing work. And they get them to our veterans, first responders, and their family, and they need your help. Donating is easy. You can go to several different ways. First, maybe you're on Amazon lot. Smile.amazon.com. Set your supporting group to Wounded Paw Project. Or car, truck, RV, boat. If it flies, it floats, they'll take it. Great tax-deductible gift. Donating's easy. Proceeds are used to protect, advocate, and transform shelter dogs into service dogs, veterans, first responders, and their family. Find out how you can give. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Just how badly has the COVID-19 pandemic hit the live concert industry? Live Nation Entertainment, one of the country's biggest concert promoters, reports its revenue was down a staggering 95% in the second quarter of this year compared to the same time last year, according to Billboard. In dollars and cents, that's just shy of a $432 million hit. And no one expects artists to return to the road until next year at the earliest.
At the earliest. Not a lot's going on. That's just it. One thing that is going on is golf. By the way, golf is crushing it. The PGA Championship over the weekend, won by Mr. Colin Morikawa. It was amazing to watch. It was at Harding Park in San Francisco, which I love it. They call it a major on a muni, which is a municipal course. Today, anybody can go play it. It's not a country club. It is a municipal course. Anybody can play it. A little bit more expensive than the average 18-holer up the street, but still, it's for anybody. Colin Morikawa, 23-year-old from Los Angeles, California, won it, and he was stoked.
I'm on cloud nine. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I've believed in myself since day one, and I've said it. When we sat down, I specifically remember at Travelers, the four of us, me, Wolf, Victor, and Justin Suh, and I just told everyone, all four of us, and obviously we've all had some pretty good paths. Justin's struggling a little bit. But we all believed since day one that we can do this.
And he did. He did. And how did it happen? It was tough. At one time, and I tweeted out last night, at one time I think there were 7 or 9 guys that were tied at the leaderboard with only about 4 or 5 holes to play. And then he came up to the 16th and crushed it.
By Wednesday night, I had no plans on going for 16 at all. I told Colt Knost. He saw me Wednesday afternoon practicing on there, and he asked me if I was ever going to go for it. Told him a quick no.
295 yards, par 4. He's looking around going, should I go for it? Should I go for it?
It's too much into the wind. Why go for it? I didn't think the pin was going to be where it was. My caddy, it was like 278 to the front. And just a good drive for me is going to land just short of that in this weather. It's going to bounce on up. So, he looked at me, he counted it off and asked me what I wanted to do. I told him, let's hit a good drive. And I kind of thought back at 14 at Muirfield. What's different between 14 and Muirfield and this shot? Similar numbers. Wind was a little left, kind of into me, but I knew I had to hit a good one, and stepped up. And those are moments I'm always going to remember.
Yeah, 23 years old. He rolled it about 5 feet from the pin, eagled it, took a 2-shot lead, never relinquished it, picked up $2 million, and now he's a major champion. Hello, winner. That's awesome. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. What was great about this, too, was prime time. Prime time, no protest, crushing all of the other sports. Crushing all of the other sports in ratings. Absolutely fabulous. Normally, they play on the East Coast. What happens? Well, it's so early that they're out playing. They're done by 2 in the afternoon, 3 here in the West Coast and throughout the Midwest. They didn't start till that time. It was prime time every way. It was awesome to watch. It was fun. And when you look at the ratings, golf is through the roof. Everybody else, even though we're clamoring for fresh and new stuff, still struggling. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Therefore, I'm taking executive action. We've had it. And we're going to save American jobs and provide relief to the American workers, that I'll be signing these bills in a very short period of time. First one is I'm providing a payroll tax holiday to Americans earning less than $100,000 per year. In a few moments, I will sign a directive instructing the Treasury Department to allow employers to defer payment of the employee portion of certain payroll taxes from September 1st.
Yeah, little ball of confusion. I don't think anybody has any idea what is going on. So Trump signs this executive order. Defer. Now, it's not a forever thing, even though he would love that with payroll taxes. It's a deferment. You still got to pay them. They're just going to push it out a little bit. Some people are like, I can even do this, and this is taxes, and taxes need to go through the legislative branch. Can't go through the executive branch. Can he even do it? Is it possible that he can do this? Is this legal?
We've cleared with the Office of Legal Counsel all these actions before they went to the president. The president knew unemployment insurance was ending. He said, let's continue at $400. By the way, the 25% from the states, they can either take that out of the money we've already given them, or the president can waive that. We've been told by the states they can get this up and running immediately. And I would say if the Democrats want to challenge us in court and hold up unemployment benefits to those hardworking Americans that are out of a job because of COVID, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah. Can they do it? It's a ball of confusion. It's the best way to describe it. Little Love and Rockets right there. Who doesn't love some Love and Rockets? I loved Love and Rockets. As a kid, punk rock, kind of cool. I have no idea. I just know that there's going to be a battle. I don't know how it's going to work. You can hear all the muckety-mucks talk about it. Is it legal? Isn't it legal? How dare Trump do something like this? This isn't legal. He's screwing everything up. You guys didn't do anything. And by that, I mean both sides of the aisle. Senate did nothing. Congress did nothing. Mitch, Chuck, Nancy, nada. You fought. You decided we can't get anything done. And away you went. I have no idea. Can he do it? Well, there's going to be legal battle, that's for sure. Peter Navarro.
The problem here is Capitol Hill, the swamp, the two houses that are too far apart. I mean, the Lord and the Founding Fathers created executive orders because of partisan bickering and divided government. That's what we have here. But the president's taking action. His constituency, let's be clear, his constituency is mainstream Republicans, blue-collar Democrats, and independents who are sick and tired of the swamp. And he reached out and he took action.
I got to be honest, Peter Navarro, I'm not quite sure the Lord was involved in the executive order. I don't know if he was. He's sitting around going, you know what? I feel like I'm missing something over here. Like, we've got it all set up, but I'm missing one thing. What could that be? Executive orders. That's what I'm missing. I knew it. Ha! The Lord gets it right again. No, I don't think so. The swamp. Trump's learned how to fight in that swamp. So I don't know if this is legal. What I do know is supposedly your state's supposed to pay $100. The feds are going to kick in $300. Your state's probably broke, like every other state is right now. And the bickering will continue. The best thing that everybody can do is get their butts in and come up with some sort of deal. That's just what it's all about. I don't know if it's legal. People said all weekend, do you think it's legal? I'm like, I have no idea.
This is an unworkable plan. Most states will take months to implement it because it's brand new. It's sort of put together with spit and paste. And many states, because they have to chip in $100 and they don't have money, won't do it. And to boot, it depletes the Hurricane Trust Fund to defer this money at a time when we're at the height of hurricane season.
Well, can the president do that, though? Is it legal? Is it legal?
Well, I'll leave that up to the attorneys.
I don't know if it's legal. I think maybe some of it probably is. I think when it comes to, he can't make permanent cuts because that's the legislative side of it. They seem to think it's pretty legal. Stephen Mnuchin.
We've cleared with the Office of Legal Counsel all these actions before they went to the president. The president knew unemployment insurance was ending. He said, let's continue at $400. By the way, the 25% from the states, they can either take that out of the money we've already given them or the president can waive that. We've been told by the states they can get this up and running immediately. And I would say if the Democrats want to challenge us in court and hold up unemployment benefits to those hardworking Americans that are out of a job because of COVID, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
Now, I played that again because they think it's legal. Democrats are confused. States are confused. That's it. It caused a ton of confusion. I understand the frustration. I think we all do. When it comes to, you guys didn't do anything. At the end of the day, I don't think anything's changed. I think they'll eventually have to come back to the table. They'll have to put on their, we should have just done this. They'll pat each other on the back, talk about how great it was, how they worked hard for the American people, how they did the things that they had to do, how they sacrificed. You didn't sacrifice, you old bag. Both of you guys. Mitch McConnell's he's wearing a meat suit, this bag of bones, right? Nancy, same thing. The sacrifice for the American people was sacrificed. Can't believe we sacrificed. Just see how hard we tried. Shut up. Do your job. Make it exactly what it should be. A clean bill. Get it done. Then fight over how much money the state should get. Then fight over the things that you think that you need. Oh, this place needs $1.7 billion. Build an FBI building. Over here, we need all of these F-35s. Fight over that later. Put your attitude aside. Put your partisanship aside. Put your party aside. And actually do something for the people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Here's a question. What's going to happen with school? It's a really interesting thing. Trying to figure it out myself. I know what Jack's doing. Jack's school, I don't expect them to be back until at least the beginning of the year. Would I be surprised if they don't go back to school at all? No. But the question's being raised because kids are kind of in school some places, kind of not in school in other places, and mostly not in school.
Should there be a requirement that teachers get tested before they go into a classroom, that anyone going back to the office full time get a test?
Ideally, we would have that. If you look at what universities are doing right now that are reopening for on-campus learning, they're implementing widespread testing. They're testing students 2 or 3 days a week. We don't have the resources, we don't have the capabilities right now in most districts to do that, and that really is the bottleneck. We need to implement more low-cost tests that can be done at the point of school or work.
I don't know. I mean, Bill Gates over the weekend, I know some of you are, he created the virus so he could get himself a vaccine and make himself richer. Shut up. Said testing's it's useless. Testing is useless. I mean, the reality, it's a numbers thing at this point. During flu season, okay, I can get it because you want to differentiate. Do you have the flu? Because if you have the flu and give you Tamiflu and stuff like that, you get the vaccine. But what are you going to do? Like your doctor tells you got COVID. You feel sick, stay home. They weren't testing in many places people that weren't sick. So you could be asymptomatic. They weren't even testing you. And what are they going to do? You've got it. What are you going to do for me? Well, nothing I can do. We just know what treatments we can and can't do when you get to the point where you have to enter the hospital if you ever get to that point. But if you get a test today and you don't get it back for 5 to 7 days, what good's that? Honestly, what good's that? Don't know. And schools, hey, teachers, they're going to have to make some serious choices. This is a teacher, little dramatic, right? She's from Iowa. She did her obituary.
Obituary circling on social media and making its way to the governor's office. These teachers detail their biographies and who they'll leave behind if they die from coronavirus. The move comes after Governor Kim Reynolds announced the fate of Iowa education in the fall. She plans to bring back students to school during the pandemic, saying in-person instruction must happen. Now some Iowa educators are worried for their lives.
And now we have to go into a classroom filled with 25 kids. The window's hardly open.
What do you do? I don't know. What do you do? If you're a teacher, do you wait till there's a vaccine? I asked Dr. Will Humble last week, who was the head of basically the health head here in Arizona for a long time. And I asked him, I said, this is about the teachers, right? This is about the kids, because you can go look at the kids and the mortality rate, and it's nothing. In many places, it's 0, nil. And the kids that have died most of them were already really sick, had tons of underlying conditions. But the flu is far worse than for the kids. So I said, wouldn't it be fair if we just said, all right, well, for right now, you guys aren't going to go to school because you might spread it to the teachers, but then maybe we should re-examine it when the flu season's here and say, all right, the flu season's here, so the kids should stay at home. And he says, that's a good point.
Jeremy Dumkrieger wrote in part, I am not dead. I have prepared my obituary and am sending it to Governor Kim Reynolds to express my concern regarding the absence of a statewide mask mandate for our schools. He's calling on other Iowa teachers to do the same so they can remain healthy.
It's not an easy thing to write because it's so emotional when you start to think about it. Your entire life sitting there in front of you, and all you want to do is go to your job every day, and you just don't feel supported by the state government.
Yeah, well, teachers have to make that decision. And I think a smart bunch of educators and people will get together and go, who's willing? Because, look, just because you open up the schools doesn't mean everybody's going back. Right? That doesn't mean that. There's a better way of doing these things that we haven't been doing. But at some point in time, you've got to start weighing it. Are you willing to go to school? Because if you're not, well, I don't want to risk my life. Well, I'm sure the person at Walmart doesn't want to risk their life either. Are you saying they're expendable and you're not? Well, that's not very nice. I'm just being honest. A lot of people don't want to say that. No, we want you to be safe. I think we need to, elementary school, there's no reason why kids shouldn't be back in elementary school. There's no reason. And I think we could social distance enough, I think, especially with older kids. But you're also, I'm at the point now where I think kids may not be back in school for God knows how long. Unless there's a vaccine that is proven to be effective, even if we came up with it today, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. And then when you've got that part of it sorted out, think about the other part of it, which is vaccine's going to take a while. we may see, positivity rates drop down to 5%. But if this thing is supposed to have a second wave and it explodes, at what point do you get your life where you think back to some normal pre-coronavirus, and then they say, we got to shut it down again? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. HelloFresh. Love my HelloFresh. Had a little burger last night. It's great about HelloFresh, right? It's easy, it's simple. Save money, 40% versus shopping at your local grocery store. You don't have to worry about meal planning, right? You get your meals to the table in as little as 20 minutes. It's that simple. What does HelloFresh give you? 22 chef-curated recipes each week, including low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly. It's up to you. You decide what you want. They've got all kinds of surf and turf. You name it, they've got it. And it's contact-free. Comes straight to you. You don't have to worry about any of those things. You can change your delivery days, add extra meals, skip a week, whatever it is you need. HelloFresh is there, flexible, and will fit your lifestyle. Get started with the #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use the promo code Benson. $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com. Save $80 off and free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader?
Fui.
Fui, fui, and double fui.
What is your language? This is a family show, remember?
Fui to families too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and see what's trending around the world interwebs. We'll start on Twitter. Lots of stuff. Most of it to Chicago. So there was a police-involved shooting last night, which then pissed everybody off. And because everybody was pissed off, they decided, let's just go. And they just decided to tear up a bunch of stuff, loot, destroy things. And that's what they did. And it was ugly. It was ugly. Now, the shooting, the police-involved shooting, involved a person who, well, he is, how should we say this? Somebody who's had issues in the past.
The shooter is a 20-year-old man with 4 previous arrests for charges including burglary, child endangerment, and domestic battery. The shooter...
Think about that. 4 previous arrests. 4 previous arrests. Because originally, it was supposed to be somebody who was a teenager. Very young, though. Found out that was not true. That was a lie. Shocker, I know, crazy. People went crazy, started tearing things up. Ugly, nasty. More things. Antonio Banderas turned 60 and got the COVID. Oh, I think he's going to make it. I do. I bet you he does. I bet you he does. I'm just saying. I bet you. Nebraska. Why is Nebraska trending? Is it still a state? It is. But they were one of only 2 teams as the Big 12, I guess it's called this week. Apparently they had an impromptu voting session, and they were one of the only 2 teams, I think it was Iowa and Nebraska, to say they would like to play fall football. The other teams said, nah. Doesn't mean that it's over, but I think it's going to be tough this year for college to have fall football. Don't be surprised that football, college-wise, doesn't happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Google's much of the same. Shark Week over there on Google. I watched some of Shark Week last night. I don't know if I needed to see Mike Tyson vomit, but you did. There you go. How about that? How about apples with those apples? It's the Chad Benson Show.
Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
At some point, Biden's going to pick I guess you would call it a running mate. At some point. What do you think he's going to do? I don't know. I know he's riding around without a helmet, but he had a mask on.
President, have you picked a running mate yet? Yeah, I have. You have? Who is it? Who is it? You.
Okay, so he didn't know the follow-up was coming, but he did answer with a direct yes, he has picked a running mate.
Yeah, and it's him. It's fantastic. Ducey, you're going to be his running mate. Legally binding, he has no choice. I don't know who it's going to be. He goes too far left, gives Trump something to talk about. He goes too middle of the road. It gives the Bernie people a chance to bitch, whine, and moan and burn down more stuff. I'm kidding, Bernie. I'm kidding. Why you do that? Who knows? I'm more worried about Kanye's running mate, that's for sure.
We've learned that some Republican operatives with ties to the Trump campaign have been working to get the rapper on several state ballots. It's a political move that could be aimed at trying to sway young voters away from Biden.
Yeah, young voters are going away from Biden because Biden's old. He represents none of the stuff. He comes from that evil time, which was yesterday. Anything that is predates them is bad. Anything. When was it? 80s. It's got to be bad. Predates me. It's got to be bad. That's what they're thinking to themselves. Kanye? Be interesting for sure. Could it hurt? There is a possibility always. Could it backfire? Yeah, of course it could.
This could definitely be a dirty trick that some Republicans are trying to play on the campaign, but it could be one that backfires. No one really knows what a Kanye West political supporter looks like. It's easy to say, well, he's got an African-American fan base, he's an African-American entertainer, so black voters may find an option there. But you know what? A lot of people who might be disaffected with politics altogether, black, white, or anything else, they might say, hey, Kanye West, that's a kind of a protest vote, or I like his music and I want to send that statement, or I don't like either of these other candidates. You could see people parking their vote there that might have otherwise voted for Biden, might have otherwise voted for Trump.
It's a possibility. Absolutely. Totally a possibility. The reality is probably not going to do enough, but you don't need a lot. Remember when we talk about stuff when it comes to voting, especially in swing states and areas that are so close, you don't need a lot to swing something. So just being in a situation where you could be a spoiler is enough.
And it only takes a couple 10,000 votes, really, to potentially swing the vote in one of these battleground states. So that's what has a lot of people wondering what this is really about. And without even questioning Kanye West's motivations here, the people that seem to be gravitating toward the efforts to help him get on the ballot, they might have their motivations questioned big time.
Of course. Of course. Kanye. Think it's real?
It's how she approached me. She was a middle-aged black woman saying, hey, can we get, you to sign this ballot, so we can get funding for our community.
And apparently it was about getting Kanye on the ballot. Trump's got a lot of work to do, people. I'm telling you guys this right now. Trump has a ton of work to do. It ain't going to be easy for him. He's got a long way to go. Some of the people that elected him, unsure, a little pissed, have every right to be. Some other people, they're getting exactly what they wanted.
The last time you and I met, Katie, was in March. Right. At that time, you and your husband were both working full time. Your kids were in school. How has your life changed since then?
We went through, obviously, the kids not going to school to trying to work from home, to try to educate our children from home as well. And, the cancellation of life, essentially.
How has your political landscape changed?
I'm turning into more of an angry person than I think I've ever been in my entire life. And that makes me really sad. I'm just on a countdown to November right now and hoping we wake up from this nightmare we're living living in.
And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It is. For a lot of people, it absolutely is a nightmare. She's pissed. She's angry. She's looking around, trying to figure it out. A lot of people are angry. A lot of people, we were talking about this on Friday on my other show I do. And we had a long discussion because I think it was last week that Michelle Obama says she's got a low-grade depression. Some people's like, that's a shot at Trump. I think, no, there's a lot of people out there. Take away Trump. It could have been Obama in the office. It could be Biden. I think with the way things are going right now, there doesn't seem to be too much good news. It's at best, it's a fair to Midland day for a lot of people. And the rest of it, it's just running together of nothing but negative news. Another X amount of thousands of people test positive. Another X amount of people died. Another, X amount of people filed for unemployment. It just seems to be continuously depressing. And it takes a lot for people to get through. Stuff like that. So I don't think it's genuinely a Trump thing. I don't think he's helped by any means. I don't think he's helped at all. At times, I think he's hurt the process. But I think in general, it wouldn't matter who's there as far as a depression side of it. I think that's very real. But I think Trump has dropped the ball on more than a few occasions. And I think part of it is we want somebody who's empathetic in a time like this. In a health crisis, you want empathetic people. I always used to say this. When you're sick, you want empathy, right? When you're hurt, you want somebody who's strong. Like younger. When I was sick, I wanted my mom. When I was hurt, I wanted my dad. We look at Biden. He's very empathetic, right? Super empathetic. Comes across like, it's going to have that soft touch. In a time of crisis like this, people look and say that guy's going to have a softer touch. He's going to understand. In a time of 9/11, you want somebody with like, you know what? I'm going to put my foot up your ass, so be prepared. Be prepared.
Hal, when you and I first met, you had a term you used for your political identity.
Politically homeless.
How have the stakes changed since we first met?
I think we're seeing it on a daily basis, this delegitimizing of pillars of our society, of institutions of government, everything from COVID testing to choices that we've got to make about education for our kids. And there's just a void of leadership at the top.
Now, I can't blame Trump for what's going on with schools. He wants to open them up. So people are like, no, you can't do that. The states, you're on your own. Well, we should have a federal response. No, I don't want a federal response. Let the states allow themselves to figure out what they're going to do because they know their states better. They're going to put parameters in place that are going to work. Think about this with a federal response. Let's say you live somewhere where there is very little COVID that's spreading, but federally you can't go to school. That's stupid. Isn't it? Isn't it kind of stupid? If you're testing at the 5% positivity rate, meaning you test 100 people, only 5 will come back as positive. So you're thinking to yourself, well, but other states are testing at 15, 20, 30%, but you can't go to school. That'd be dumb. We want the states to handle it, and that's on the states. Could Trump do more with that? Is Betsy DeVos kind of I'm sorry, she's a little bit of a tool? Absolutely. But we want that with our states. It's funny, we want all the leadership at the top, which I totally understand, but we also want the individuality of having our states run the things that they want to run the way that they want to run them. It's not all doom and gloom for Trump in Michigan.
Jerry, I think you are still probably furthest to the right of this group. When we first met at the farmers market, you were echoing a lot of the president's language. You called impeachment a witch hunt. What made you go from pretty solidly for Trump to backing away from that and now winding up more on the fence?
Some of his statements, some of the buffoonery, some of the shenanigans, his actions. When he said that, we're just going to knock this right down. Well, that ain't going to happen.
No. It's not. It's not going to happen. We'll see what's going to take place in November. It's a long way to go. And I've continued to say they will both snatch defeat from the jaws of victory on more than a few occasions. I think the debate, I think Trump is looking at this thing like a boxer looks at it. He's in the corner and he's still in it when there's still 3 rounds left, but his corner man's like, hey, dude, check this out, dude. Dude, here's the deal. All right? You're down on the cards. You got to knock him out. And I think he's looking at the debates as, this is my way to knock him out. This is my way to take him down. We'll see. We'll see. If that's true. Don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like because I don't know how many there's going to be. That's the other side of it. How many is there going to be? Are they going to be in a room together? I mean, there's so many things that go into this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Chicago, ugly last night, looting. 100+ people arrested. It was insane. It was nuts.
These individuals' engagement can only be described as brazen and extensive criminal looting and destruction. And to be clear, this had nothing to do with legitimate, protected First Amendment expression.
That's Lori Lightfoot. No, it didn't. It didn't have anything to do with it. Somebody was shot. People got upset because they said it was a child, and it wasn't. Somebody who'd been arrested and been known to the police, who had a gun and fired at police. People took it upon themselves to go and loot and destroy. And you're right, Producer Phil, there was one time a truck pulled up. People were taking stuff on the subway or the train. I mean, it's just insane. It was insane. Chicago, you better get a grip. You don't want to end up like the Great Northwest. You don't want that. You want none of that. That's ugly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You are working from home, like many of us. Got to do those meetings, right? Those conference calls, those video conference calls. You don't want those white things sticking out of your ears or any kind of dangling wires. Get yourself Raycons. Now, beauty of Raycons is normally you'd spend about $250 for earbuds this good. But check this out. Well under $100 for the best earbuds around. E25s, 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, better design, nice noise isolating fit. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. Maybe you're making an important phone call. Maybe you're listening to a podcast. Maybe you've got to be on that big meeting. They look amazing. Subtle. The sound quality second to none. Stylish. Cardi B loves them. Snoop Dogg loves them. Why wouldn't you love them? Oh, you will. Price starts well under $100, and I'm going to save you even more. How? By going to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Save big on the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
The Big Ten presidents did meet this weekend. Multiple sources have told ESPN that a majority of the Big Ten presidents are in favor of canceling or postponing the season. But on Saturday morning, the Big Ten athletic directors at 7:30 a.m. had a teleconference or a video conference with Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. And Warren said that his medical advisors are pushing back and cautioning them on going forward with the season. There was a lot of back and forth in that discussion. Then I'm told that the Big Ten presidents met again on Sunday evening. I was told no vote came out of that. But again, the Big Ten and Pac-12, I think, are at the forefront of this.
Yeah, so what will happen? I don't know. I do think that there's going to be at least one Power 5 conference, if not two, that decide to skip. I think the SEC may, and it's the SEC, it's the South, and they're going to go through with it. Pac-12, Pac-10, I don't know what they are this week. Big 10, Big 12, there seems to be, nobody can come up with new things. ACC, I think, is going to go through. So probably the Big 12, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2 out of the 3 Big 5 conferences of football say no. We're not going to do it. Maybe they put it off till spring. Maybe they just don't do it at all. Is that a possibility? It absolutely is. 110%. It is a huge possibility. Football is one of those things that we live for in this country. Saturdays, Sunday, it's more than just a sport. There's camaraderie. There is a sense of the turning of the seasons. I think a lot of people were marking on the calendar. If we just get through this, the changing of the seasons, summer will be a little bit tougher, but then all of a sudden we'll see some sort of, light at the end of the tunnel, and football will be back and it'll be normal again. And I just don't think we're there yet. I don't. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination, but the reality is this, there's going to be some big teams and some big leagues that are going to say no.
In the Big Ten, 2 of the presidents, both at Michigan and Michigan State, are both physicians. One's an immunologist. The other one is an epidemiologist. They don't need to go to task force. They know what's going on right now. And the entry into this conversation about heart effects is critical. That sent a chill throughout the college sports world the other day. I don't know why they had not heard this already, but a report came out in a medical journal that really woke everyone up.
Yeah. So, don't know what's going to happen. I just think that we're not going to have football, college, like we thought, and we were hoping for, and the pros. It's much easier. See, the NHL and the NBA and professional golf have a much different and easier path. They're in an area where they control everything. The bubble is rarely, if ever, getting breached. There's plenty of testing. It's all self-contained. Major League Baseball, we've seen, has struggled. Why? Because they're playing in their own stadiums. They're traveling. It's not self-contained. The NFL is going to have trouble because it's not self-contained. You're going to have probably expanded rosters up to who knows how many players. Instead of 53, with some 45 or something active on a Sunday, you'll probably have 53 active, and you might have 65 on a team, and it's not self-contained. They're going to play in their own stadium. There's not going to be a bubble. And I don't know if you could do a bubble in professional sports for a full season. I think you could do it like they're doing in the NHL and the NBA because it's the end of the seasons. Basically, they're in the playoffs. It's 6 weeks. 2 months at tops. Golf, a little bit different. Social distancing by nature. Players are getting tested. There's no fans. So it's not really like the other sports. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. It's going to be interesting, though, but I do believe we're going to see some of these big conferences say no. You're already seeing NFL players, 66, opted out. We'll find out what it's going to look like. It's going to be definitely different, at least for this year. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
But now suddenly you can't make your rent payment, or even just finding food is a struggle, where you have food lines now that in many communities go miles in the richest nation on the planet Earth. This is a catastrophe of our own making. The pandemic is what it is, as Donald Trump likes to say, but that is not what defines us. The pandemic doesn't. Our response does. And what is a nation right now whose leadership is failing.
Cory Booker, It is what it is. Yeah, Trump said that. It is what it is. Do I like the fact that he said it? No, I think he could have done a much better job. And rephrasing some of these things, Trump gets himself into, too many issues being Trump. I read a great tweet somebody said this weekend. It says, you don't like Trump because of his policies. You like Trump because the people that hate Trump make you like Trump. I said, there's probably some truth in that. I've said one of the reasons that Trump got elected is he pushed back. He pushed back in San Francisco. He pushed back on Manhattan. He pushed back on Seattle. He pushed back on Los Angeles. He pushed back on D.C. Liberal elites in big cities who kind of always felt they knew a little bit better than everybody else. Not all of them, but a lot of them, especially the ones with the bully pulpit. And Trump was he was everything that people in small parts of the country, Midwestern cities, people in the South, people in other places in the country, or even places, in California who felt like, these people, Gavin Newsom doesn't speak for me. Nancy Pelosi doesn't speak for me. Chuck Schumer doesn't speak for me. Bernie Sanders doesn't speak for me. Speaks down at me. And Trump was the exact opposite of all of that. He would look at them and say, kiss my ass. You're stupid. Well, it's dumb. No, but that's a lot of what Trump was. Has he failed at leadership at times? Absolutely. If you're honest with yourself and you can get away from the cult side of it, he has. Because he just doesn't lead the way that we would like him to lead in a time like this. For me, I don't look for government to lead me anywhere. It's never been my thing. I look at this and I say to myself, you know what? You're kind of on your own here. Do the best you possibly can. See what your state's going to do. See what the feds are going to do. But outside of that, it's sink or swim. It is sink or swim. And if you're waiting for the government to save you, you're kind of screwed. You're kind of screwed. You could do two things. You could go out and say, all right, here's the deal. They've closed my gig. Are there other gigs I can gig? In the meantime, if and when my gig comes back, I'm going to have to do the best I possibly can. But waiting around for the government to save you is silly. But with Trump, it's a much different thing. Trump leads in a way that is very much a kind of money first. Because in Trump's mind, this is the way he looks at things. If your life is good because you've got a strong job, you've got some money in the bank, you're paying your bills, everything else is great. Everything else is great. Everything else is gravy. Money can solve a lot of those issues. And there's a lot in that. Don't say there's not a lot. There's absolutely a ton in this. I've always said, you go to the hardest, most hardened people on earth who are doing nothing but warring on a day in and day out basis. If they had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house and a mortgage and a car payment and a job, they wouldn't be warring. So there is something to that. But it feels that that's all Trump cares about. Trump's the guy you want when crap gets ugly and nasty. He's not the guy you want when there's ugly and nasty on the health side of things. And that's why I think for a lot of people, it looks like he has floundered. It looks like he has. A lot of politicians have, though, by the way. A lot of politicians have, because they can't talk their way out of this. This is the one thing they can't talk their way out of. This is the one thing they can't legislate. This is the one thing they can't executive order. This is the one thing they can't campaign away. This thing is just here, and it's frustrating. Biden gives you that little empathy. Trump does his own thing. Pisses people off. Case in point over the weekend.
Therefore, I'm taking executive action. We've had it. And we're going to save American jobs and provide relief to the American workers, and I'll be signing these bills in a very short period of time. First one is I'm providing a payroll tax holiday to Americans earning less than $100,000 per year. In a few moments, I will sign a directive instructing the Treasury Department to allow employers to defer payment of the employee portion of certain payroll taxes from September 1st.
Can he do it? Don't know. That's a fair question. He believes he can. Mnuchin?
We've cleared with the Office of Legal Counsel all these actions before they went to the president. The president knew unemployment insurance was ending. He said, let's continue at $400. By the way, the 25% from the states, they can either take that out of the money we've already given them, or the president can waive that. We've been told by the states they can get this up and running immediately. And I would say if the Democrats want to challenge us in court and hold up unemployment benefits to those hardworking Americans that are out of a job because of COVID, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
You got a lot of explaining to me. I don't know. So when he means waive, it means that right now with this executive order that he signed, $400 a week, your state's going to kick in another 100. They're going to send 3. Trump can waive that, meaning you'd only get 3 on top of whatever your state gives you. I don't know if, look, they failed to get anything done. But the other side of it is, first of all, is it workable? That's something that we should absolutely talk about. Secondly, is it even legal?
This is an unworkable plan. Most states will take months to implement it because it's brand new. It's sort of put together with spit and paste. And many states, because they have to chip in $100 and they don't have money, won't do it. And to boot, it depletes the Hurricane Trust Fund to defer this money at a time when we're at the height of hurricane season.
Well, can the president do that, though? Is it legal? Is it legal?
Well, I'll leave that up to the attorneys.
Don't know. Chuck Schumer. George Stephanopoulos. Is it legal? Couldn't tell you. There's going to be lawsuits, though. States can't afford it. States can't afford it. You go and look around and look at states who, so look at red states. They struggle. Get a lot of money from the feds. Look at blue states. Well, they may not struggle on the top. When you look behind and find out that most of the money they take in tax revenue, especially in some big cities, all goes to people who are retired and they have huge unfunded liabilities and they've exhausted all of their unemployment resources. Red and blue are struggling here. I don't know. I don't know if it's legal or not. What I do know is neither side came to an agreement, and we're in the same situation that we were months ago. They had opportunities. They didn't get to it. I don't think we need to extend it for a long period of time. I think we take these things at 3-month clumps. I know Nancy Pelosi was talking about extending $600 benefits all the way through March. So you're talking about September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 7 more months. I think that was a bit of a stretch. We don't need to plan out that far. It's not, and for the average person, you and I, we would say, we don't need to go that far. Let's just do it every 3 months. Because we're rational individuals who can come together and say, well, we need to extend this, or see, we didn't need to do that. But because they're not rational, as we all know, and all they do is argue and fight amongst each other, this is what you get. This is what you get. You get craziness, you get chaos, and here we are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Last night, Chicago.
It's been a long night of clashes between the looters and police on one of Chicago's most famous shopping districts. Now, take a look at some of these images. According to authorities, this all began at about midnight. Police say large groups of looters targeted high-end stores and businesses on Michigan Avenue, also known as the Magnificent Mile, shattering windows, stealing merchandise, even filling cars with stolen goods as they clashed with officers for hours. All this as police has struggled to get things under control. Police is shutting down nearby highways and public transit to try to secure the area.
Yeah, last night was ugly. Gentleman was shot use the word gentleman loosely, right? Had some issues.
The shooter is a 20-year-old man with 4 previous arrests for charges including burglary, child endangerment, and domestic battery.
Yep. But wait. No, he was a kid, right? He wasn't a kid. That was an absolute lie. The next thing you know, there's looting going on, and it was insane. Guess what? Social media played a part.
CPD became aware of several social media posts encouraging looting downtown. Officers were dispatched to our downtown area once we got word of the social media post.
Superintendent David Brown right there, and it was nasty, ugly. They just tore through some of these areas like you could not believe. All fueled by misinformation, as he talked about, saying that it was a child or a young kid, teenager, who was shot by the police, only to find out he fired shots, he had a gun, the police were called there because people were concerned. But as we all know, disinformation, it's all you need to get it out there. People will not ever try to find out a real part of the story. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Car Shield helps you out. Amazing. Why? Well, it's simple. They go out and they make sure that you have covered repairs taken care of. They have 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop, take it to the dealership, they get them paid directly. It's that simple. That's why Car Shield's amazing. Plans start as low as $99 a month. You tailor-made the plan for your budget and for what it is you're looking for. If you got electronics in the car, you're worried about your GPS and all that stuff, they've got a plan that's right for you. Maybe you're worried more about your air conditioning. They've got a plan that's right for you. Your transmission, again, a plan that's right for you. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. That saves you 10% right there. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use the code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It seems likely that Christie will play Joe Biden in the debate prep sessions that they end up doing. Trump has been saying things like Christie was tougher than Hillary to debate and things of that nature. They've resolved to meet at least once every 10 days, keep the group very, very small, 5 or 6 people to limit the potential for leaks. But they all see these debates as the most important, predictable inflection points between now and November 3rd.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it'd be interesting to see what that even looks like. Because you don't know. I mean, there is, yes, they've agreed on debates. But just because you agree on something now doesn't mean you're going to get it all. I think there'll for sure be one. And what that looks like, I have no idea. Probably no audience. It'll be in a room. Will both candidates be there? Will one be via satellite from his bunker? His basement? Don't know. But I think Trump looks at this as like, this is my Hail Mary. This is I can't win the fight on the cards. I've got one big punch, and this is it.
They don't think Joe Biden's going to submit himself for any tough interviews between now and Election Day. So this is their only chance to batter him before a national audience.
And I think that's true. I mean, he's not really sat down with anybody. Ever. Sat down for a real hard-hitting interview. So we'll see. We will see. It's going to be very, very, very interesting to find out if this plays itself out the way that it could. Because answer me this, if you're a huge Biden fan. And I don't think there's a lot of huge Biden fans. This is a race between Trump and Trump. You love Trump, you hate Trump. Very few people are going, I'm going to turn on the TV, see what this guy's all about. Everybody knows who he is. But if he gets boat raced in the first one, if he looks just disheveled and out of it, and he's just kind of just looks a hot mess, you're not going to want to go through more of those. And if he backs out of more, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe does okay. Even if, and look, there's a part of me that says even if he looks like a buffoon through no fault of his own, the media, I'm sure, will spin it in some ways. Trump's a bully. He's mean. Didn't let him speak. They'll come up with something. But the average person sitting there goes, it's the eyeball test. Going, all right, you can say what you want, right? You can tell me how good he did, but I'm looking here. It's like one of those boxing matches where the guy goes back to his chair and they give it to him. The judges say, da-da-da-da-da-da, and they look over and you're the winner. And the guy's eyes are swollen shut. The other guy's standing there, not even breathing hard, going, are you being serial right now? Yeah. We'll see. But would I be surprised if he gets thumped in the first one? That there isn't any more? Yeah, I would be. And not that I don't think Joe's a fighter, because I think he will. At what point, though, does Joe call him a buffalo hunter or something like that? And challenge him to push-ups? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the show. I want to hear from each and every one of you. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
How Brian Stelter has a job is beyond me. Befuddles me, I would have to say. Look, take away whether or not I think he's good at. It's just he's not entertaining. You find a lot of that. It's just none of it. Very few of them are entertaining. You know why the reason the 5 on Fox is at least semi-entertaining is because they're laughing about all kinds of stuff and they joke around. Like outside of that, most of the shows on cable news, and I don't even watch any of them because the 5 is on when I'm on the air, and I don't really care about any of them. But they're loud. We see them laughing. Right? It looks more casual. They're having a good time. It looks like. And they talk about all kinds of stuff. And oh, by the way, they've got a left-leaning guy and some right people on there. So it's not just like it's one side. Because I'll readily admit, Fox, pretty much to the right. Right? Fox is pretty much to the right. But Brian Stelter it baffles me. And this weekend was extra baffling.
Let's go on a trip together to a totally alternative universe. You never hear what's happening there unless you tune into right-wing talk radio. But you need to know what they are saying because the most popular, most powerful talkers in the country have trained their sights on Joe Biden. What you hear them say is mind-boggling. This stuff is offensive and otherworldly. Guys like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity can influence tens of millions of listeners. They have shifted to big-time Biden bashing.
Okay, so does that happen? Of course it has. Why? Because they all love Trump, right? Absolutely. I don't hate Biden. I have real questions, have nothing to do. I've said this. Biden 10 years ago was much like John McCain. He's past his sell-by date. I think it's a fair question to ask when you see some of the things that he says and the way he acts at times. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Zero wrong with that. It's not mean. I don't want anything to happen to Biden. Right? None of that. That's the funny thing. Are there others out there who can't stand Biden and are going to just go after him? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I got nothing against Biden. I think he's served his country. I think he's done a lot of service through his political years. But I do think that he's yesterday's news. And I think I look over the Democrats and Trump was new even though he was old. His age was old, but he was new. There was no script. There was nothing. Joe Biden is both old and old news. The script is old. It's stale. Joe, that's why his running mate is so important.
This is negative partisanship. So what's negative partisanship? Well, these researchers from Emory University define it. Say in this article for Political Magazine that over the past few decades, American politics has become like a bitter sports rivalry in which the parties hang together mainly out of sheer hatred of the other team rather than a shared sense of purpose. The researchers showed that partisans, meaning strong supporters of a specific party, have grown to dislike the opposing party, quote, more than they like their own party.
Yeah, that's why I say. That tweet was right, I talked about earlier, with a majority of people who voted for Trump didn't vote for Trump because of his politics, voted for Trump because the other side hated him, and he was a voice to get back at them. I think that's very, very real. Very, very real.
Entire media companies essentially exist to tear down Joe Biden. Is there an equivalent to that on the left?
Excuse me? Wait, what? Entire media companies exist? Well, I could say Fox. That's a media company that's definitely on the right. Breitbart, very much right. The Blaze, are those media companies? Well, they're media companies, but are they the New York Times, the LA Times, MSNBC, CNN? Probably not. The Washington Post. I just can't believe he said that. As if he lives in a world where, have you never watched any of your programming ever?
Entire media companies essentially exist to tear down Joe Biden. Is there an equivalent to that on the left, tearing down Trump?
There really isn't. And, what I would say, it's really a diet of this type of information that a lot of these voters are getting. A lot of the voters that I talk to, when I interview them, I do hear them saying a lot of the talking points that sound very familiar from some of these shows when I'm out on the campaign trail or when I'm at home, watching TV. You can hear these comments being echoed by voters.
It's Aaron Haynes. No, there is no equivalent to that. There is no. I mean, are you serious? Are we being serious right now? Like, he's as shocked as anybody. Oh my God, is there? Because I'm only ever fair. I've never been anything. I don't have any. I mean, I worked for the New York Times. I was uber left leaning, and most of the people in journalism are to the left, but everything's above board. I mean, I know that, there was a bunch of reports coming out here in the New York Times and elsewhere about how this newsroom has become echo chambers. CNN's the same thing, how they can't stand Trump. But no, is there an equivalent of that? I can't even believe he asked that question. And that's to me it's mind boggling.
This is the diet that they're on. AM radio, conservative talk, also social media. I mean, the Trump campaign is running a full-blown campaign on social media that is completely off the radar for a lot of regular media is not covering this. But, I mean, you have Laura Trump, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Katrina Pearson. And if that's all they're getting, to the exclusion of kind of the more traditional legacy media, then it really is no surprise kind of what their understanding is of this country and of our politics.
Yeah, I don't want to claim it's new. I just am arguing that it's getting worse.
He's awful. I mean, let's just agree. I don't want to claim it's new, but they're not giving the money to the establishment side of things like they should be. He goes to where his people is. Like I said, all bets are off with Trump. He was older, but he was new. He was fresh. He was a bully. He came in and he laid to waste everybody in front of him. Then he beat Hillary. And then he's had 4 years of giving him hell and taking hell. But don't pretend as if CNN wanders around as if they've given him nothing but the opportunity. It has been impeached. The Washington Post called the March for Impeachment was their lead story on the day he was inaugurated. Think about that for a second. Is there an equivalent to it? You are insane. You are. Remember a couple weeks ago? Trump's evil and bad. He put people in the feds inside of Portland. And because of that, I mean, it was 50 plus days of writing before they showed up. And they're trying to build down a federal courthouse, which I, being Chad Benson, said, let them burn it down. This is the government you want. This is the government you get. And it's all the feds' fault. Right? It's all Trump's fault. He's using it as own. Oh, my goodness, the feds are in there. And this is this Gestapo. Look at him. These jackboot thugs are out there. These kids are doing nothing. Here's the Portland mayor.
Nights of protests that began as a Black Lives Matter outcry over the killing of George Floyd by a white police officer, but have now, according to Portland's police chief and mayor, completely lost sight of that cause.
When you commit arson with an accelerant in an attempt to burn down a building that is occupied by people that you have intentionally trapped inside, you are not demonstrating. You are attempting to commit murder.
Wait, Mayor Wheeler. I thought this was all Trump's fault.
You are creating the B-roll film that will be used in ads nationally to help Donald Trump during his campaign.
No. Once again, spun the entire time that all these people were peaceful all day long, and it was a lie. It was a bunch of crap. Are there peaceful people there? Yeah. But there are people who show up, they do their thing, and then they go home. They have their signs, they sing Kumbaya, they have their chant for whatever it is that they're chanting for at this moment in time, and then they go home. It's the others that are around there who are trying to burn down buildings with people inside of it, who take over 6 city blocks in Seattle. This is a different world. You have failed. Remember, Trump got the blame for this, though. Let's be real. He did. I wouldn't have sent him in. Chicago's a different thing. The feds were being asked by the police, come on in and help us. Not for protesters, but because of all the guns on the street and the gang violence that's going on in certain areas. I would have said, Portland, you're on your own. You wanted this government, you got it. But Trump sent him in, and then Trump got the blame. It's all bad. It's all Trump's fault. All Trump's fault. All Trump's fault.
Now, Thursday's protests had been promoted on social media by a group calling itself the Pacific Northwest Youth Liberation Front, with the slogan, quote, no cops, no prisons, total abolition. Now, Mayor Wheeler had hoped that the violence might dissipate after federal agents whose presence he decried as causing some of the most intense clashes were largely withdrawn from Portland streets last week. At this point, that seems to have been wishful thinking.
Yeah. They'll figure out a way to make it that way. Makes me laugh. From Brian Stelter saying, is there an equivalent to the right-wing media that's on the left side that goes after Trump? Is there an equivalent? Are you serious? The equivalent was 2 weeks ago, Trump was evil and bad. He sent people in, the feds, to protect a federal courthouse. Look, there's a lot of things you can go after Trump for, but to even pretend for a moment that it's been a fair go for Trump in the establishment media, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. It has been nonstop. When you got the Washington Post talking about the march to impeachment begins as he's being sworn in, just understand this is what it is. We are partisan. We've chosen our sides. And there's very few of us, I say, quote unquote, in the middle as far as they want you to understand. But the reality is the majority of us are. We just don't have the bully pulpit. We don't have the microphone the way that we should. We have exhausted, tired majority right in the middle who's sick and tired of both sides screaming at each other. But they're loud. They've got the bully pulpit. And they rabble-razzle. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program. Love hearing from you. MyPillow. Sleep better than ever with MyPillow. So I've got my MyPillow, which I love. I've got my sheets, which are awesome. These Giza sheets. They're incredible. Right now, MyPillow is doing something amazing. BOGO. Buy one, get one free. What is it? Well, Any of the stuff they have. Anything. Neck and bolster pillows, duvet covers, roll and go anywhere pillows, MyPillow towels, you name it, they've got it. And, of course, the MyPillow. You buy one, you get one free. You get a 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Everything's made right here in the US of A. And this is the beauty of it. So you go to MyPillow.com. There's a radio listener special. You type in code Benson. On the way out of your shopping, if you order Mike Lindell's book, he's going to ship everything for free and give you a $25 gift card towards your next purchase. It's buy one, get one free and everything. MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
The accident renewing safety concerns as e-bike sales soar across the country. One shop says sales have increased nearly 300% year over year during the pandemic. And experts believe the motorized vehicles are giving people some much needed fresh air as they stay away from public transit.
Yeah, e-bike because, well, it's getting a lot of publicity because somebody, Simon Cowell, fell off it, broke his back, is in surgery for several hours yesterday over the weekend. And I guess it's touch and go. Some people were worried that he may be paralyzed. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're looking at. But he ate it. And e-bikes, they go. I see them every once in a while. I see those, and what are those things? Those one wheels. Have you ever seen those, producer Phil? Those one wheel things?
Those are odd. I don't get them.
I don't get them either. But all I know is there's a guy when I'm out running around playing soccer. There's a guy that flies by me, and he must be going 20 miles an hour. And I think to myself, if he eats it, it's going to be spectacular.
Don't just jump on your new bike. Make sure that you are learning about its features. Read that manual and consider even going to an e-bike class at your local bike shop. Lots of bike shops across this country offer them right now.
Yeah, they go fast. It's pretty cool. It's pretty simple. It's battery-powered assist, sometimes via pedaling, sometimes with a throttle. Small motor engages and gives you a boost so you can zip up hills and cruise over terrain. They're giving you a moped that just is cooler than what a moped would look like. That's kind of what it's all about. So you just have to be careful, which is hard because we live in a world where we're just, I'll just get on it and go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Did he really?
President Trump made a point of traveling during the pandemic to see Mount Rushmore. Just about a month ago, he gave a speech there on the 4th of July. He urged the protection of monuments like Mount Rushmore and statues. And there's a new report from the New York Times that says White House aides actually reached out to the Republican governor of South Dakota last year about adding Trump's face to that historic monument.
Now, he's denying it. I don't know if it's really true or not. With Trump, you never know. It could be like, there's no way it's true. And then you're like, it's true. It's true. And then other ways, you're like, that sounds like something what Trump would do. And then you're like, that's not true.
The president has been telling Kristi Noem, who's the governor of South Dakota, for the last 3 years that he wants to be added to Mount Rushmore. Now, she tells this story that she first thought he was kidding when she brought it up to him in 2017, but she realized pretty fast he was serious about it. So fast forward to last year, the White House reaches out to Noem's office and says, what is the procedure for adding new images to Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I don't think so. Look, if you were going to add two images to Mount Rushmore, let's say you're going to add two. You add one from the right, one from the left. No doubt who goes there, Reagan. And if you're on the left, you put up Obama. That's it. Move on with our lives. All right, there we go. Trump, though. Can my head be bigger than everybody else's head? Speaking of South Dakota, Sturgis going on. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my goodness.
So they decided to officially sponsor it. That way they could provide hand sanitizer. They could provide some guidance for social distancing. Essentially, the city was handcuffed to the fact that this has such a huge tradition that happens every single year, not to mention the fact that these businesses count on this event happening every year. I talked with one campground owner, Buffalo Chip Campground. This is the only event they do. They hold concerts It's 9 days out of the year. This is the only time they make any money.
Yeah, and they're worried about that. 250,000 people show up. Will it spread? There's the potential for that. No mask wearing. Tough to get bikers to wear masks, especially in a world where, well, they're bikers. They kind of do their own thing, go their own way. But not everybody there is part of the Hells Angels or the Vaqueros or the Mongols or any of that stuff. Most of them are just people who enjoy riding their motorcycles, and it's a big party. They've got that, counterculture kind of feel to it. So we'll see what the spread's like. Could have Trump in South Dakota. And we got bikers. Kids, have a great rest of your day. It's Monday. It's crazy. Smile. We're going to get through this. We will. I promise you that. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.